Today on Ignition, how to hire smart and how diversity can help grow your business.
Welcome to Ignition. I'm Ellis Friedman.
And I'm Ramon Ray. Ignition is a weekly show where we talk about issues that can help you grow your business. So my question is, Ellis, what are we going to talk about on this week's Ignition show?
Well, Ramon, today we're going to talk about strategic growth and growth by design. It's a big topic.
Absolutely.
But first, remember we have an ebook in our resource center called Your Game Plan, which can help you with strategic planning for your business. But today, we have Liz Pearce with us, and she is the CEO of LiquidPlanner.
Welcome, Liz. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Liz, let's talk about scaling and growth and your background. And what have you found? What are some of the challenges? Where have you been in starting small, itsy-bitsy, and then scaling real big?
Sure. So I've had, I guess, a fortunate experience to have been with LiquidPlanner since it was just an idea. So I started working with the founders back in 2006 and have been with the company since its first incorporation to initial product launch all the way to today, where we're about just under 70 people.
Okay. Awesome. Did you start as CEO?
I started as the marketing contractor.
Wow.
They were paying me hourly for advice. And it was only a few hours a week in the early days, and then quickly became a full-time position as director of marketing, then to VP of marketing and sales and COO, and then CEO about 3 years ago.
Wow, I kind of want to give you a sisterly fist bump, but I'll refrain.
Should we?
There you go.
All right.
I'm left out now, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, Ramon, you'll live. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the growth aspect of it and going from so few employees to a lot more? Where did you start?
It took a while.
It didn't happen in a week?
It was very slow at first.
Yeah.
When we started, we had just a handful of engineers and me, part-time. And the big focus at the beginning was the product. You know, what is the right product to build? How do we break into our market? How do we differentiate ourselves? And that was really the focus of the business for the first 5 years. So we were small up through that first 5 years, probably about 15 or 16 people at that time.
Wow.
And we were thinking about product market fit and getting customers to buy the product.
Right.
And the slow growth for us at that point was beneficial because we could really focus.
So what things did you focus on to foster that slow growth?
The big thing that we focused on was getting feedback directly from users of the product. And I did part of that myself. People on the product team, engineers, customer service people, everyone was really actively listening to what people were saying and how they were using the product. And we would then turn that around into improvements to the product in our next iteration.
And then when do you find that you have to grow? Meaning, I'm curious the journey from going from 10 people or so to 70. Can you compress that? How did that happen and why? When did you realize that we have to hire 20 more people or 10 more people? Or maybe you grew slower than that. Can you talk about that process for others to learn? They have 5-person companies. When do they know that they need to go to 100 or to go from 5 to 50? How do you?
Sure.
You know?
I think it comes down to mostly a question of capital.
Okay.
How much money can you invest in hiring? For us, we started selling the product about a year after about 6 months after our initial beta launch.
And that makes a big difference.
That makes a big difference.
Because you had to. That's where the slow came. You were testing and
Exactly. We would hire just behind the demand. So when we initially had a product, we had one person who was basically answering the phone and trying to reach out to people who were trialing to convert them to paid customers. And then we'd hire a salesperson to capture that demand.
Oh man. And
then we'd hire a customer success person to help manage existing business.
And is that good or not? It clarifies that. Is that a good way? Because I know some people are saying, let's hire when we feel pain and we have to, or some may say, let's hire when we project. Which one are we?
Yeah, I mean, you want to be opportunistic,
okay,
right? And so we kept repeating that process over and over again, honestly, for years, where we built the team, the marketing team from 1 to now almost 10 people, and the sales team from 1 to now, close to 20 people.
Okay.
And that was all like one foot in front of the other until we could really prove the value of those positions. And if you're in a position to raise money, if you're getting outside capital, then you may decide to speed up the process, and that happened to us as well. But in the early days, it was all, you're watching the dollars coming in, and you're thinking, how many dollars can I put out in the next month to get that next person who will help us? I'm always looking for a force multiplier. What role can I fill that will force multiply the person doing the job before?
Okay, so why don't we talk a little bit about hiring? So how do you hire strategically to foster that growth?
Because if you screw up and don't hire right,
It's going to cost you a lot more money.
3 people, 5 people that you shouldn't
Sure.
have one. So
Sure. I mean, everyone should expect to screw up hiring at some point.
okay.
There's not a
Yay.
scientific formula, right?
Right.
And we make mistakes hiring, and those mistakes have to be corrected sometimes. I think that in the early days, I was always looking for people that were more generalists than subject matter experts in a specific aspect of a field. So I would hire a generalist, well, I was the first marketer, hire a generalist marketer, which I was, that could, do a little email, do a little social, do a little PR, do a little branding. And then over time, think about what aspect of that function in the organization could be fueled fastest by another person.
So for example, now you may have hired an SEO expert.
Sure, yes.
Or something like that.
Our first hire was actually someone to work in social.
Got it.
Because we were all about awareness and connection in the early days. And then the next person was SEO and the website. So, you're scanning the environment for opportunities where one more hire will exponentially change the trajectory of whatever that area's metrics are.
And you may have answered some of these questions in what we've talked about before, Liz, but what's interesting to me is the dot-com boom or bust, whatever you want to call it, where companies are hiring massively. But talking to small business owners, should they feed into that? And I'm not trying to set you up to say no, but should they feed into that, meaning where you want to hire quickly, you want to scale quickly, but yet then you're thinking, maybe I should slow down. Any pros and cons to what we're seeing in the mass market with Google or Amazon, hiring huge amounts of people and then letting them go maybe a year or two later?
It's really a business model question.
Okay.
If your business depends on a network effect, where you have to grab market share quickly in order to compete against other players, then you probably do have to hire more quickly and staff up more quickly. In a business like ours, which is a software as a service business, we have to think about the customer acquisition cost in relation to the lifetime value of that customer. And so you're targeting a certain ratio, and when you have achieved that ratio, that is really a signal to the business to invest more in acquisition, which means hiring for growth.
Got it. Okay.
Liz, thank you so much for being here. It was excellent.
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It was really fun.
And don't forget to visit our resource center for the ebook Your Game Plan for more strategic planning for your business.
And thank you for watching The Ignition Show. We can't wait to see you watch the next episode the next time we air. Thank you.
Love Ignition? Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And don't forget to check out our resources section.
That's a space needle.
Cool.
Yeah. Sort of.
A needle of space.
I mean, the top looks like a needle.
That is true. Or a corner of the cob.